My name is Todd Latham, and I am the publisher, president, chief bottle washer of Actual Media. Actual Media produces two of the leading industry magazines on infrastructure and water, Renew Canada and Water Canada, respectively. I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've attended Globe since 1992, every single one. So I've seen a lot happen in the environment industry over the last 25 years. My talk is tomorrow. I am actually moderating two sessions tomorrow. One is on infrastructure deficit. Is that a problem or an opportunity? That's the title. The other one tomorrow is the business of water, when we'll be talking about water industry and the water business in Canada and internationally. The infrastructure presentation, I mean, everybody hears about the infrastructure deficit, and we hear about, oh, we're billions of dollars in the hole, that our bridges and roads are crumbling, that we're not spending enough money on infrastructure and transit and things of these natures. Where is the money coming from? So that's what's caused the infrastructure deficit. So municipalities are dealing with that. The session tomorrow is to look at, is it really a problem that we have a deficit, or is it an opportunity? And I think it's a little bit of both. Yes, it's a problem, but the good news is that we've identified it as a problem, and that creates the opportunity for us to go in and do some creative financing, to bring in public-private partnerships, to get other tools, maybe some service fees and other things to bring in that allow that infrastructure deficit to be bridged and for cities to be built in a more sustainable way in the long term. Apart from the P3s, there's service fees. For example, congestion charging in London. When they had all the problems with the cars in downtown London, UK, they brought in congestion charges, and I think you're seeing that in other places. Places like Beijing, for example, are now considering how many cars they register to allow them into the city. Other places like Athens have actually got a system where odd number plates are only allowed to drive on certain days, and even number plates. So there's different ways to mitigate some of the congestion problems, which is an infrastructure problem, lack of roads and public transit. The other is true cost accounting. People don't pay enough for their services in Canada. We're a little spoiled. The cost of gas here is significantly lower than what you would pay in the United States even, or what you would pay in Europe. And there's a reason for that. You want to have people making the right decisions on infrastructure, and you need financial drivers to make that happen. You see that with conservation programs. Cities are constantly saying, use less water, use less energy, and you can kind of wonder, well, how does that benefit the water utility or the energy utility if they're getting less of something? But it actually saves them money because they don't need to build more of the infrastructure they need to deliver energy or water. So it's a positive way to affect change by going to the pocketbook. It always blows my mind when people are searching for the gas station that has gas that's 3 cents cheaper than the one that's at the corner of your house, but you don't do that for other things. You just pay the fares, you pay for water, you don't really consider it. But we do, for some reason, think the price of gas is important. And if we were to use those same levers for other infrastructure pieces, then we would maybe affect change. So, i.e. getting people to go to the other side of the town to get a different infrastructure service if it was cheaper. When I first started attending Globe in 1992, there was a very large emphasis on government. Government was involved, and I think they were the ones driving the discussion on sustainability at the time. Since then, I've seen more private sector involvement. It's become more mainstream. You're seeing the big Fortune 500 companies who are now getting it. To the extent that they're getting it, we're still working on that. Climate change, of course, is very important. In the 1992, climate change was not even part of the vernacular. So we're seeing the shift over to more global problems, whereas in the 90s, there was perhaps more local. What do we do with waste? Diapers are filling up our landfills. Those were really important things to discuss back in the 90s. Now, that's not as important. And a good analogy for that would be the ozone layer. In the late 80s, there was all this worry about the ozone hole and what were we doing about it. Then the Montreal Protocol came in and banned CFCs, and that made the ozone question go away because there was a focus on it and it went away. And I think we're seeing some of that happening now with the climate change conversation and around carbon taxing and other ways for mitigating our impacts. I'm an optimist, absolutely. I think there's a lot of hope that the private sector is engaged, because they're the ones who are going to be spending the money and driving public opinion. The governments are largely castrated on this issue because there is no political will. In Vancouver, you're lucky to have somebody like Gregor Robertson here who actually is passionate about this and is able to make the hard decisions on some of the planning that needs to be in place, some of the levies and taxation that needs to occur in order to pay for sustainable infrastructure. And other governments are not so willing to do that. And that's unfortunate, because what we really need now is political will to make things happen. So in the 90s, the government was there. Now we're seeing more private sector involvement. I think we need to get the government back in, and so that we're all pushing in the same direction. There's so much. I was at an event last night, and somebody says, "What's the most exciting thing that's happened to you in the last 12 months?" I said, "Well, I can tell you the most exciting thing that's happened to me in the last 12 hours. I mean, there's so much going on, and it's the realization that municipalities have that they can't wait for a handout. They can't wait for somebody to tell them what to do, that they are in charge of what their citizens are going to be doing in 10, 15, 20 years from now. So doing things incrementally, setting up a composting system, finding out innovative ways of getting the community engaged in environmental matters, being more vocal and communicative about it. I think this is great what Metro Vancouver is doing with these kinds of events and this kind of media exposure. It allows the citizens to be fully engaged. And that's what we need to have the political will to keep going on it. So ask me what we're covering that's exciting and interesting. Sensors, so that you can tell if a bridge is getting old or not. Trenchless technology, so instead of ripping up the road and replacing a water main, you're having robots go in there, fixing the leaks, and putting in a brand new liner, which basically makes a new pipe out of that without digging up the road, without causing traffic disruption, and reducing the cost for the city and the greenhouse gas impacts, because you're not getting a whole bunch of trucks and backhoes and moving that dirt somewhere else. And everything is being done more in situ, in place, and I think that's positive.